Welcome. Good morning and welcome to this worship service at the Unitarian Universalist congregation at Shelter Rock. I am the Reverend Dr. Natalie Fenimore, and I minister here along with the Reverend David Carl Olson and the Reverend Israel Buffardi. And it's so great to see so many of you who were also here last night for the Lobster Fest. There may have been sleeping in the parking lot after your late evening and your early rise. I appreciate you all being here. Fun was had by all. Those who were not able to come this year, I hope to see you there next summer evening. Ours is a faith tradition which values diversity and welcomes you no matter where you are on your spiritual journey. We believe in using science, reason, and the many gifts of the Spirit to bring meaning to life. Here, we believe you need not think alike to love alike. Unitarian Universalism puts love at the center. You are welcome here. I invite you to participate in the many, like the Lobster Fest, the many events and programs of this very busy congregation. Some of those things are the ongoing Congregational Art Show out in the Art Gallery. Please register for our religious education classes. Information can be found in our newsletter and online. And on September 8th, I'd like you to join me as I lead a book discussion. The book is Hallelujah Anyway, Rediscovering Mercy by Anne Lamott. And that will be on September 8th. I also want to highlight, as you find in our newsletter, our many ongoing events. So on the first Sundays, there's dramatic readings in the Art Gallery. On Mondays, there's Qigong and balance and self-empowerment. On the first and third Tuesdays, there's Women Talk Daytime. On Tuesday evenings, there's a gathering of the LGBTQ and Friends group. There's the Wednesday afternoon Zoom conversations. The second Wednesdays, there's small group ministry at Hadley House. On the second Wednesdays, there's also small group ministry on Zoom. On Thursdays, there is yoga in the Beach Ballroom. On the second Thursdays, there's another small group ministry that meets in person. On the third Fridays, there's the women's group online book discussion. On Fridays, there's a great books discussion. And on Saturdays, there's more yoga for all levels, ages, and abilities. So as you can see, there's a lot to do. Find the thing that calls to your heart, find something that enriches you, or maybe just take a walk on the beautiful grounds. All of this we offer to you as a community, relationship, spiritual experience. And so, with that, I also invite you to come to coffee and conversation after worship so that we can better get to know one another. Let us worship together. I offer now these opening words from Ralph Waldo Emerson. Our life is an apprenticeship to the truth that around each corner there is a circle and another circle can be drawn. That there is no end in nature, but every end is a beginning. And under every deep, a lower deep opens. I will light our chalice, the symbol of Unitarian Universalism. We are now going to sing a hymn, which you don't know. And so, our soloist, Brian Jeffers, will sing it through once so that you can hear it. And then we'll have the lyrics projected as usual so you can sing along. Also, feel free to use the teal hymnal for those of you who are comfortable reading music. And so now, I invite you to listen to hymn number 1054, Let This Be a House of Peace. Please stand as we sing together the first verse.
Okay, yeah. First verse.
House of Peace, we're going to do House of Peace? House of Peace, we're going to do it with them?
What more? Just the first verse.
Let's do the first verse.
Let this be a house of peace, of nature and humanity, of sorrow and elation. Let this be our house, a haven for the healing, an open room for question and our inspiration. Let this be a house of peace. Let this be a house of peace.
Thank you. Please be seated. I do believe it is our quest for this to be a house of peace. I wish to acknowledge at this moment the ongoing and perhaps escalating war present in the Middle East, the ongoing and escalating crisis in Sudan, which will result in famine. I call on all of us to do the work of peace, even if it is only in our own hearts, in our own families, in this community. Let this be a house of peace. Please rise for our words of affirmation. Love is the doctrine of this congregation. The quest for truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge and freedom, to serve human need. This do we affirm and covenant with each other. Thank you. Please be seated. Each Sunday, we take a special collection to extend our vision of the beloved community by supporting work in the world which addresses human need. This month's collection will support the UUCSR Religious Education Service Group's School Supply Drive. The UUCSR Religious Education Service Group brings together all ages at this congregation to build a more just and joyful world through service to others. The School Supply Drive supports the ABBA Center in Hempstead, New York. The ABBA Center is a nonprofit organization which takes a holistic approach to addressing the needs of families in the community. Donations of $30 will fill one backpack with supplies, although we welcome donations of any amount. You'll find on the screens the ways in which to give using the QR code on your order of service. You just open your camera on your phone and you click it. And by PayPal, or you can send your donation to donate@uucsr.org, or you can go old school and put money or a check in the donation box in the lobby. Please give generously. You can also, if it's convenient for you, go to the UUCSR webpage and set up an ongoing donation so that a donation goes every month to the organization which we choose at any amount which you choose. So please give generously. Remember how excited you were to go back to school with new crayons. And give a child that same joy. Thank you. I now invite you to rise in body or spirit for hymn number 1003, Where Do We Come From?
This one I know you guys know, but it is a round, and we're a little over here. So if you guys want to do 1, 2, 3, 4, or whatever you guys want, and then we'll loop it at the end.
Where do we come from? What are we? Where are we going? Where do we come from? What are we? Where are we going? Where do we come from? Where do we come from? Mystery, mystery, life is a riddle and a mystery. Mystery, mystery, life is a riddle and a mystery. Where do we come from? Where are we going? Where do we come from? Where are we going? Where do we come from? What are we? Where are we going? Where do we come from? Mystery, mystery, life is a riddle and a mystery. Where do we come from? Where are we going? Where do we come from? Where are we going? Where do we come from? What are we? Where are we going? Where do we come from? What are we? Where are we going?
Please be seated. I now invite us to enter into a time of silence, meditation, or prayer. Sit still. Sit with your own thoughts and feelings. Take a moment to be fully aware of your body, your physical self. Now, become equally aware of the bodies around you. Those who share this life, our common life. Our hearts go out to those among us who are celebrating. To Lillian Strassman, who has become a great grandmother. Our hearts go out to those among us who are in need, like Marilyn Fischel, who seeks a kidney donor. Our community holds both joy and sorrow. We are a place of comfort and care, concern for one another. Take a moment to feel in your soul that deep concern that another feels for you. that concern, that love is in itself a miracle. We can be a place of miracles. I offer these words from Gordon McKeeman. For simple things, which are not simple at all, for miracles of the common way, sunrise, sunset, seed time, harvest, hope, joy, ecstasy. For grace that turns our intentions into deeds, our compassion into helpfulness, our pain into mercy. For providence that sustains and supports our needs, we lift our hearts in thankfulness and pray only to be more aware and thus more alive. May we be more aware and thus more alive. May it be so.
It's not that easy being green, having to spend each day the color of the leaves, when I think it could be nicer being red or yellow or gold or something much more colorful like that. It's not easy being green. It seems you blend in with so many ordinary things, and people tend to pass you over because you're not standing out like flashy sparkles in the water or stars in the sky. But green is the color of spring, and green can be cool and friendly like, and green can be big like an ocean, or important like a mountain, or tall like a tree. When green is all there is to be, it could make you wonder why, but why wonder, why wonder? I am green and it'll do fine. It's beautiful and I think it's what I want to be.
These are the words of the writer Octavia E. Butler from her science fiction classic Parable of the Talents. Butler writes, Self is body and bodily perception. Self is thought, memory, belief. Self creates, self destroys, self learns, discovers, becomes, self shapes, self adapts. Self invents its own reason for being. To shape God, shape self. So I'll begin by telling you that a robot did not write this sermon. I don't use artificial intelligence in my writing or for anything else of my own accord, although I do recognize that I am subject to interactions with artificial intelligence because I am in communication with other people and systems which do or are artificial intelligence. As a matter of fact, there are many who consider me an old-school Luddite. I don't use Facebook or X or Instagram, and my LinkedIn account is very much out of date, and I only put it up because I was pressured to. I don't stay away from technology, though. I use what benefits me, what's easy to use, helpful, and user-friendly. I have a computer. I have a cell phone. Just like the rest of the people in the world, I am at least as connected as your regular preschooler. But as for the rest, I really don't have the time or the need. Being in communication with real people in real time is a full-time job. I can call. I still write letters. I actually send emails and text messages, all of that old school stuff. I do. I wrote these words sitting alone in a comfy chair, surrounded by books and notes, and interacting with my own experiences and thoughts, and thinking about what I want to say to you, myself. Now, you may be tempted to say that that's all because of my great age, that I've not jumped in the AI world with both feet because I'm too old to do so. However, that's not true. I know ministers even older than I who are constantly connected to the online world, who are always posting. I can tell you where people are at this exact moment if I was online, what they were thinking and feeling and doing, and there are pictures of it. There are people, ministers, even older than I, always interacting online. I know ministers who use ChatGPT, who have subscriptions. Ministers of all ages, people of all ages. I've had a lively conversation about artificial intelligence with a member here, Hugh Stevens, who is 100 years old. And at an event last night, Colin Woodhouse shared a poem written on his behalf by ChatGPT. While a number of teens and young adults have made the choice to step away from most social media because of their concern for their mental health. So it's not an age thing in and of itself. Still, there is a question, regardless of age, why not consider using AI? Because artificial intelligence is, according to the Oxford Dictionary, the theory and development of computer systems able to perform tasks that normally require human intelligence, such as visual perception, speech recognition, decision-making, and language translation. We could all use that, right? But it's also the science of making machines that can think like humans. Thinking being the gathering of huge amounts of data for pattern recognition and to make judgments using that data, a kind of simulation of human intelligence. And beyond just AI, there is general artificial intelligence that tries to match or exceed human capabilities. The attempt to make a machine that has the ability to self-teach. General artificial intelligence seeks to acquire what we have always seen as specific human abilities: creativity, emotion, free decision-making. So what does it mean for a machine to have those attributes, those abilities? What does it say about being a machine? And what does it say about being human? There's long been a fear of machines taking over, machines eliminating the need for human control, machines making decisions for themselves, machines maybe making decisions for us. because we're not always that good at making decisions for ourselves. This fear is all over our popular culture. In the movies, 2001, A Space Odyssey, Andromeda Strain, Blade Runner, The Matrix, and the movie AI. Even the movie Oppenheimer reminds us that there can be horrific consequences to pursuing scientific advancements without considering possible harms, and that those harms might be almost unimaginable. You know, a recent Harris poll found that 64% of people fear artificial intelligence. But Oren Atzioni, the founding chief executive officer of the Allen Institute for Artificial Intelligence, argues this: the popular dystopian vision of AI is wrong for one simple reason. It equates intelligence with autonomy. That is, it assumes that a smart computer will create its own goals and have its own will and will use its faster processing ability and deep databases to beat humans at their own game. Can artificial intelligence lead machines to have their own agendas? Can machines develop first-person perspectives, emotions, consciousness, self-awareness? We may believe that it won't because it cannot. We may believe that the gift of consciousness belongs only to biological beings, maybe only to human biological beings. For those who believe in a reality that was created by a supreme being, God, it may be impossible then to believe that any creation of humanity, like a machine, could achieve what was given to humanity by God. It would be a blasphemy. Unless, of course, you come to believe that it was a God-given ability to create intelligent machines which was given to humans, and so they have the ability to develop machine life. What do you think? Is that given to us to do? By God or by our own intelligence? Artificial intelligence has not taken over or destroyed or dominated humanity, at least not yet. But it has made an impact in our everyday lives already. There's some annoying things like grocery store self-checkout lines, call centers with endless waiting loops, having to prove that you're really a human being before someone on tech and customer service will talk to you. There's some questionable things, like harvesting our personal information, our identities, our voices, our likenesses, our data, in order to train or teach AI without our knowledge or our consent. There are questionable things like algorithms all around us, leading us in directions that we may not want to go, and definitely asking us to purchase things that we probably shouldn't purchase. And there are some amazing things, like having an AI robot capable of being a companion to a lonely person. When Congresswoman Jennifer Wexton lost most of her ability to speak because of a neurological disease, an AI program used old recordings to clone her voice. So now her voice comes out of an iPad. The representative types her thoughts into the computer, hits play, and an AI program responds with her voice. All these AI-generated activities touch on our lives. They may change how we relate to machines and how we relate to one another. Some think that the purpose of artificial intelligence is to free humans from drudgery, from life-threatening, life-flattening work, so that everyone can be creative. Some machines taking jobs, though, ask us, does this risk taking income away from others? Does this risk taking the dignity of work away from human beings? Have you experienced either of these consequences of AR in your own life or the lives of those around you? Now, there are a couple of ways that you might think about our human relationship to intelligent machines, based on the writing of Robert Russell that you can find in the journal Science and Technology. We might think that intelligent machines are seen through the eyes of anthropomorphism. That is, we might give machines human attributes and relate to machines depending on how much we perceive them as being human-like. We might get closer and in deeper relationship with machines that look like us, that we perceive as being more like us. Or we might look at intelligence, machine intelligence, through the lens of anthropocentrism, which is a people-centered way of seeing everything. With anthropocentrism, we can claim that a machine will always be mindless simply because it is a machine. This way of believing and seeing the world centers everything on humanness as being how we look at everything else. We push back from us what is less like us and deny its consciousness. We can defend and celebrate humanity, humanness, in the face of the continued development of artificial intelligence. How can we do that? Do we even need to do that? Could we come to see future machine life as something like animal life, not human life, but still life, still a companion here on earth? Do we so fear the loss of human superiority that we could not step out of the center of creation? Could humans live in the midst of an ever-widening understanding of intelligence and consciousness in which we are not the center? We are not the only definition of life. Can life, consciousness, and intelligence be defined in ways that are not references to humanness? Theological formulations have always struggled to find ways to talk about God, a God who is not defined in human terms, not having a human experience, not being a human intelligence. Do we now need to formulate a conversation about machines in the same way? Remember those words of Octavia Butler. Self is. Self is body and bodily perception. Self is thought, memory, belief. Self creates. Self destroys. Self learns, discovers, becomes. Self shapes, self adapts. Self invents its own reason for being. To shape God, shape self. What happens when a machine can do that? As Unitarian Universalists, we have covenanted to define our humanity by centering love, centering relationship, and how we care for one another. Our intelligence must include emotional intelligence at the center of human interaction. In our community, we unite head and heart. We define self in its fullness in relationship. In these times, we can use the tools of artificial intelligence to do many things for us: writing, reasoning, planning, communicating. I chose not to use these tools in writing my sermons. But as AI becomes more available to each of us, how might we decide to use these tools? How do we decide not to use these tools? Because they will be all around us, more easy to use and harder to avoid. And does it or will it really make a difference to you in the end, whether AI was used or not? Would it, in the end, make a difference to you if a robot had written this sermon? I can say that I do believe it makes a difference to me. I want us as humans to fully explore our humanity. I hope we do not use a relationship to intelligent machines to take the place of our relationships with one another. I would ask that we not isolate ourselves in computer-generated worlds. We are indeed part of a larger creation which may, in time, include artificial life. But if we cannot learn to create a just and peaceful humanity, we will continue to risk all that we hold dear. We will continue to imperil the very earth on which we live, even if we are living with intelligent machines. Embrace the ways in which artificial intelligence expands our human potential, yes. Enables our human connections, yes. Did we not all benefit from Zoom during the lockdown? Embrace the ways in which we can move outside of a human-centric view of life also. Because a human-centric view of life may enable us to step aside from our need to care for all that shares the world with us. We must live in the midst of creation, but not alone at its center. We must put aside our selfishness to be one with the interconnected web of existence of which we are a part. But we should also celebrate the uniqueness of human creativity, even as it fails to meet machine perfection. Consider the beauty of the ways in which you gather data, the ways you make memories, have experiences, learn empathy, show compassion, love. We are not yet at the point where a machine can gather that data. But even as machines and people grow closer to being able to work together to create a shared environment, remember that self is. Tend to the wonder which you are, the wonder which you alone are, because that does make a difference. That does make a difference. And may it always be so. Please rise in body or spirit for our closing hymn, number 1053, How Could Anyone? Please be seated. I offer you these closing words from the Reverend Rebecca Parker. The beauty of life is such that it will not let us go until we have offered the blessings we have to give. So let the beauty we have seen become the good that we do, and let us not rest ourselves free from the claim that life places upon us until we, in faith with all of those who have gone before us, place ourselves among those who bless the world.
On a clear day, rise and look around you, and you'll see who you are. On a clear day, how it will astound you, and the glow of your being outshines every star you'll feel part of, every mountain, sea, and shore. You can hear from far and near a world you've never heard before. And on a clear day, on that clear day, you can see forever and evermore. On a clear day, rise and look around you, and you'll see who you are. On a clear day, how it will astound you, and the glow of your being outshines every star you feel part of, every mountain, sea, and shore. You can hear from far and near a world you've never heard before. And on a clear day, on that clear day, you can see forever and ever and ever and ever.
We extinguish our chalice, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.